When a man spends his childhood learning to assess the weight of gold inside a pawn shop, grows into adulthood under the constant glare of reality television, wages a quiet war against his own body that nearly ends in a doctor's office, and then watches the people he loves disappear one after another across a compressed decade, the version of the story that audiences received was never more than a fraction of what was actually happening. Cory Harrison built a life that the gold and silver pawn shop in Las Vegas could only partially hold, and the personality audiences came to recognize from Pawn Stars was shaped just as much by everything the show never had time to reach. Born Richard Cory Harrison on April 27, 1983 in Las Vegas, Nevada, Cory arrived into a family that had already committed to building something from very little. His grandfather, Richard Benjamin Harrison, had opened a 300-square-foot second-hand shop dealing in gold, silver, and coins on Las Vegas Boulevard South in 1981, starting with sports memorabilia and old collectibles before jewelry proved to be what kept customers walking back through the door. His father, Rick, worked alongside the old man as the business found its early footing, and by the time Cory turned 9 years old, he was already putting in hours at the shop himself, absorbing the trade from the floor level upward. 5 siblings, including Adam and Jake, filled out the Harrison household, but the family business became the gravitational center of Cory's life and never really released him from it. The gold and silver pawn shop built its reputation steadily over the years, drawing steady traffic near the Las Vegas Strip until that reputation caught the attention of the History Channel. Producers Brent Montgomery and Colby Gaines from Left Field Pictures believed pawn shops held stories that most people never encountered, and when they tracked down the Harrison family operation, the concept became a television series. Pawn Stars debuted in July 2009 and reached audiences across 150 countries in 38 languages, growing into one of the most watched programs the network had ever aired. The shop became a destination unlike anything Las Vegas had seen before in that form. Customers walked in carrying live parrots, 8 human skulls obtained from a dental school, a car trunk packed with precious metals and silver valued at several $1 million, and gamblers stepping away from the casino floor to pawn Ferraris at 7 in the morning for one more chance at the tables. Cory appraised and negotiated through all of it, developing a working command of collectibles, memorabilia, jewelry, and the split-second calls that separated a smart acquisition from a costly lesson. His father's early years selling counterfeit Gucci bags at a swap meet when money was tight made the eventual reality of broadcasting in 38 languages feel almost impossible to Cory, who mentioned at a press conference that none of it had ever been part of any plan. Season 6 was where the relationship between Cory and his father stopped being something they could smooth over between takes. Cory pushed for 10% ownership of the gold and silver pawn shop and made clear he was prepared to walk away entirely if the negotiation came back empty. Rick and the old man landed on 5% with room for more later, and Cory accepted the arrangement. His stake is understood to have grown since that point, and what he had contributed to the shop's day-to-day operation made the case for him better than any argument could. At 21, he brought in a man named Chumley for a position at the shop, and that single recommendation turned into one of the most recognized faces in the show's entire run across its many seasons. Cory, Rick, and Chumley appeared together as themselves in an iCarly episode titled I Lost My Head in Vegas, and in July 2014, the three launched a game show on the History Channel where contestants competed against them for cash and items from the shop floor. The teenager who once purchased 5 counterfeit Rolex watches and burned through money, learning the lesson the hard way, had become the person overseeing more than 30 employees and personally bringing more items into the shop than any other staff member on record. The weight had been building toward a medical problem long before the warning arrived in a doctor's office. At his heaviest, Cory's body reached 402 pounds, and when a physician placed him on preventative diabetes medication in 2010, that prescription accomplished what years of routine had failed to produce. Driving home from the appointment, he passed a bariatric surgery clinic, pulled into the parking lot, and walked in to ask what the procedure required. He charged the cost across 4 credit cards and committed to lap band surgery before leaving the building. 50 pounds came off in the first 6 weeks following the operation, and another 100 pounds followed before the end of the first year, bringing his total down from 400 to 200 pounds, a transformation that people who knew him described as astonishing. He restructured his daily life entirely around the change, eating in smaller portions of better food and cutting out everything that had done the damage over the years, then picked up boxing at 12 rounds per day, 5 days a week. Snowboarding returned to his life once his body could actually strap into a board again, something that had been physically impossible through most of his 20s, and the moment he could touch his own toes, he went out and bought new gear immediately, because he understood what the milestone meant. That same year, a motorcycle accident reminded him how quickly things could move in the wrong direction. Heading out to collect supplies for his own birthday party, Cory's bike developed a mechanical failure mid-ride and began spinning out beneath him, forcing him to jump clear while it was still moving at 40 miles per hour. He skipped the emergency room, attended the party, and had surgery on his hand the following day, walking away from the operating table with 8 screws and 2 metal plates holding the structure together. He described himself as fortunate to still be functioning, and by any fair accounting, the description was accurate. What arrived years later moved through the family with a different kind of weight entirely. On June 25, 2018, Richard Benjamin Harrison died at 77 years old from Parkinson's disease, an illness that had not been widely known to fans during his years on camera. Rick Harrison shared the news on Instagram with more than 245,000 followers, writing that his father had lived a full life and had used the platform of Pawn Stars to teach audiences worldwide about family, hard work, and the value of humor. Cory thanked his grandfather publicly and described him as both family and a genuine friend, asking fans for privacy while the Harrison family absorbed the loss. The History Channel acknowledged Harrison as a cherished part of their extended community and credited his honesty and wisdom as something the show had depended on from its earliest seasons. The months that followed offered no real ground to stand on. Cory and his second wife, Karina Harrison, whom he had married on May 26, 2017, finalized their divorce in September of 2018, just months after the funeral. No bitterness drove the separation, only the sustained pressure of competing work schedules pulling two people apart, and the split was handled without hostility. Their son, Richard Benjamin Harrison, arrived in October 2018, carrying the name of the grandfather the family had just lost. Rumors about a reconciliation circulated afterward, encouraged by a photograph Cory posted online and by Karina having retained the Harrison name, but neither party confirmed anything publicly. His first marriage to his high school sweetheart Charlene had already ended in 2015 after they wed in 2009 while she was working alongside him at the pawn shop, with little else ever publicly disclosed about how that relationship had unfolded. On September 8, 2023, a Las Vegas police officer pulled Cory's white Ford pickup truck over near Main Street and Charleston Boulevard after watching it move erratically across the road. The smell of alcohol inside the vehicle prompted a field sobriety test, which Cory did not pass, and he was taken to Las Vegas City Jail, where a broken breathalyzer required a blood sample to be collected instead. The results confirmed the officer's assessment and produced a driving under the influence charge. Rather than absorb the outcome quietly, Cory pushed back publicly in a Las Vegas newspaper, outlining the factors he believed the record had missed: an infected shin affecting his balance, an uneven road surface where the evaluation took place, police sirens passing mid-test pulling his concentration, a mechanical tendency in his truck to drift right, and a single drink consumed on a flight 7 hours before the stop with nothing taken after landing. His driver's license was not suspended, and he made clear he intended to fight the charge with legal representation rather than let it sit. January 2024 delivered the loss that none of the others had prepared the Harrison family to absorb. Adam Harrison, Cory's brother, had worked at the gold and silver pawn shop before transitioning to a career as a plumber and choosing to stay away from the television side of the family business entirely, a decision he had made on his own terms and that his family had respected. Motel staff raised the alarm when he had not been seen since January 17th. The landlord used a spare key to enter the room, and Adam was found unresponsive at 39 years old. Clark County, Nevada confirmed the cause as an accidental fentanyl and methamphetamine overdose, another family claimed by the opioid crisis devastating communities across the country. Cory posted a childhood photograph of the two brothers on Instagram and wrote that he would always love him. Rick Harrison addressed the fentanyl crisis in America directly in his public statement, and condolences reached the Harrison family from across the public sphere, including a personal message from Donald Trump Jr. Family spokesperson Laura Hervich confirmed the cause of death on January 22nd and asked for space while the family grieved privately. Rumors about Cory's own health followed in subsequent months, some accounts suggesting a stroke, others pointing to a serious undisclosed medical event. But neither Cory nor anyone in the Harrison family has confirmed a single element of those reports. What the record does show is that Cory remains active at the gold and silver pawn shop, appeared alongside Rick and Chumley in Pawn Stars Do America Season 2, and has further projects currently in development. The reality television show that first carried the Harrison name into homes across the world is still in production, and the man the cameras first introduced as the youngest generation in a Las Vegas pawn shop dynasty has built something no production schedule could manufacture, a genuine history assembled through health crises, personal loss, legal trouble, and the quiet, unspectacular act of continuing to show up whether the cameras were running or not.